Yo guys, what's up? Sleepio here. In today's video I have my assault rifle PvP build. Um, Yesterday I uploaded gameplay of that, so if you want to see more gameplay, then just watch yesterday's video. Before the actual video starts, I wanted to mention that assault rifles are not the best guns for PvP. In my opinion, SMGs and also LMGs are better than assault rifles. But I know a lot of people like to play assault rifles, so why not also make a PvP build for that? As always, let's start with the specialization first. So for that build, you can either go sharpshooter or you can go survivalist. Let's actually start with survivalist because that's the one I'm not using. So survivalist would give you 15% assault rifle damage and also that 15% outgoing healing, which can be useful in PvP if you either use the chem launcher for your friends or also the medkit. And then then you also have that medkit that repairs your armor over 5 seconds, which is also really good. That's like Combat Medic of Division 2. I think that's the best medkit in the game because, yeah, you can use it pretty effectively for your teammates. And yeah, it heals them over time, so it is really good. And with the Survivalist, you also get fire nades, and yeah, they are also really, really useful in PvP. It's pretty annoying to play against somebody that spams the checkpoint over fire nades, for example, because you can only hip fire when you are on fire. You can't ADS, and the fire actually lasts for a few seconds. So that is pretty annoying. I personally would run the sharpshooter though, because, well, as always, you get the 25% headshot damage, 30% reload speed, and also 30% stability, which helps with some ARs. The initial kick of the P4, for example, you can definitely feel the 30% increased stability here from sharpshooter compared to survivalist. So I personally would run sharpshooter, but survivalist isn't a bad choice. Now to the actual build. As always, let's start with the guns. So as guns, there's actually two pretty valid options. So you can either run the Farmers, which has the highest burst damage out of all the ARs. That is pretty good. Or you can run the P416, which is probably the best AR overall. It has the most sustained damage. But for PvP, burst damage is what you're looking for. So the Farmers is not a bad option, and I actually prefer it most of the times because, I mean, I like guns with high RPM. I guess that's why. But as I said, P4 or Farmers, they are both fine as long as you don't play something like a MK16 or, I don't know, CETA or P2000. Like all those guns, they are just pretty bad compared to the Farmers and the P416. So as talents, for my build in particular, if you have 5 offensive stats, then you want to run Optimist. If you have more than 5 offensive stats, then you should run Ranger here or Close and Personal. But Close and Personal won't be active as much, so probably Ranger or Optimist right here. On the Farmers, you should run Extra, which increases your mag capacity by 20%, and that is for a simple reason, because you can't put a mag on the Farmers. So if you don't have Extra, you will be at 30 bullets, and against really tanky players, that won't be enough to kill them, even if you hit most of your shots, because most of the damage you get from that build will be from Berserk. On the P416, you should just play Allegro, since you can't put a extended mag on that one, either 10 or 20 bullets. The 20 round mag is bound to the weekly projects though, so it's random if you get it or not. As other mods, I would just run accuracy everywhere, so on the optic, underbarrel, and muzzle. That is 30% on the Farmers and also 30% on the P4. The P4 has damage release equipped right now because I use that in my PvE build. As a secondary, just run the Shatterbox. It is the best secondary right now because it increases your RPM after killing an enemy for 10 seconds. And yeah, it's a 20% RPM buff, which is quite good. You will feel the 20% RPM more on the Farmers, but it's not like you will do more damage because the base RPM on the Farmers is higher. 20% more RPM is 20% more RPM, and that's the same increase in DPS for all the guns. Doesn't matter if they have 900 as a base or 200. It's the same. To the actual gear now. As in all of my PvP builds lately, I'm just running the 2-piece True Patriot, and I will start with those again. The 2-piece bonus of that is 10% damage to armor, and the damage to armor works in PvP. If you want to see proper testing of that, I have a video of that in the description that I just did lately as well. So just believe me on that right now, or watch the video in the description. You should run the True Patriot on the mask and the knee pads, since you won't lose any active talents that you could need for PvP, besides maybe cloaked on the knee pads, but I don't think that's too important with that build. On the mask, you just want health, and they will always roll with one offensive attribute, the True Patriot pieces. So I guess you just go for crit chance here, since it's a PvP build. So a high health roll and crit chance. On the knee pads, you will always have crit chance here, because that's the only offensive stat you can get on the knee pads. In my case, I also have a defensive mod slot. I'm pretty sure all the True Patriot knee pads roll with that. So just put some extra health in here. My chest is a Fenris chest, and yeah, well, it gives me 10% assault rifle damage. So for an AR build, you want at least one piece of the Fenris group. As attributes, you just want weapon damage and health, basically. I guess weapon damage, health, and armor would be perfect here. So you could go for one offensive mod slot that would give you some more extra weapon damage. But I have weapon damage, headshot damage here, so it's not a god roll, I would say, but it's pretty nice. It's pretty good. Like 9% weapon damage is high. And as talents, I have Berserk, and sadly I have hard hitting here. For that build, you would rather want Vital here, since you want to play with that Berserk buff up as much as you can. So playing with low armor is pretty beneficial, since you get a lot of damage, especially in Occupied, where it doesn't get normalized down. So 0% armor is 100% more damage. So the more health you have, the better that build will work. So going Vital here is definitely better than Hardened for that build in particular. Then as a holster, I just have a Araldi holster. That is basically the Araldi holster I have in all my builds, because, I mean, it has a pretty high health roll. And Araldi also has a pretty good 1 and 2 piece bonus. So the 1 piece gives you 10% accuracy, the 2 piece 10% headshot damage. Sure, headshot damage isn't the best stat for PvP, but I feel like I'm able to hit some headshots with that build. Then as the attributes, as I said, you just want to go health here as high as possible. And as talents, you either go precise or devastating. For most players, or even, I think even for me, devastating would be better. But since I use that holster on so many different builds, and on some builds I just want precise here, I just decided to reroll it to precise. And yeah, I just have to try to hit as many headshots as I can, because then precise will actually give me more damage than devastating. But as I said, devastating is the best option here for most players, since yeah, weapon damage also works on body. As backpack, I have a Gila Guard backpack, which gives me 5% total armor as 1 piece. The attributes, they are not that good, sadly. I have 9,000 bonus armor, 4,000 bonus health, and yeah, some skill power. I would rather have weapon damage here, but I guess you can't have everything. As talents, I have a Vital. That's definitely something you want here to increase your health further, and also Safeguard, if you are running with 5 offensive stats. As a mod, I have a defensive system mod, and I just equipped a generic system mod with AR damage, which is actually an offensive mod, but since it's in a defensive system mod slot, it will count towards my defensive stats, which is, well, I don't want to say broken, but I don't think it's intended. So if that will get fixed, then I just put armor and bonus armor in here to have some more armor and be a little bit more tanky, even though you don't really feel it. But right now, just generic mods with AR damage in the defensive mod slot. Why not, right? The offensive mod slot is empty, sadly, because yeah, I don't want to go over the 5 offensive slots. On the gloves, which is my secondary piece, I just have assault rifle damage as attribute, and then devastating as talent. You can't really go wrong here. Having devastating is better than compensated, since devastating will give you 5%. And if you don't run compensated, then you can just invest those 2 extra offensive slots into weapon damage mods, which can give you up to 6.5% more damage with specific weapon damage, damage to armor, and normal weapon damage. So yeah, devastating is better than compensated if you run it correctly, if you have the right pieces for that. As skills, I am running the Booster Hive, which gives me 20% more movement speed. That is pretty useful in PvP for obvious reasons, I guess. If you don't want to run that, yeah, then obviously run the Defender Drone. It's the best and most broken skill in PvP right now. But I want to go away from it. I don't want to be a cheesy motherfucker all the time. So I will just equip the Defender Drone if I play against other players with the Defender Drone, and then just kill them because they have no chance. But yeah, I try to play Booster Hive and play a bit more fair, if you want, in PvP. you can play whatever you want. But yeah, as I said, I would suggest Booster Hive or Defender Drone. And as main skill, just the Chem Launcher Reinforcer mod, which is, I guess, the second best skill in the game since the Defender Drone is better. Lastly, to my stats. With my farmers right now, I have 16,788 weapon damage. And the farmers I have is actually a god roll. I checked it in a spreadsheet. It's like 100 or 200 off the max damage you can get. So that's a pretty good roll. Then I only have 10.5 crit chance and no crit damage basically, but it's not a crit build, so that doesn't matter. 111 headshot damage, which is pretty high for an AR build, but that's because I have precise on my holster. Without that, I would have a little bit more weapon damage. Both devastating and precise work, but as I said earlier, I would probably go for devastating if I had a third holster with a really high health roll, and then I just go devastating there. The reload time is 1.7 seconds, since I have the 30% reload speed bonus from the sharpshooter specialization. I also have 30% accuracy, which again is bugged. I should have 40, because I have Heraldi, the one piece that's 10, and then 3 mods with 10 each, and that's 40. So can't look at that, that's just wrong. Then I also have 14% all weapon damage bonus, which could be a lot higher if I had weapon damage on the backpack. But it is what it is. That build still hits pretty hard, hits like a truck, you know. And as I said earlier, it kinda relies on Berserk, so that's why you want high health here. Running that exact same build with only 40k health wouldn't work as well, since you will just die when your armor depletes, because 40k health, that's 1 or 2 hits. 80 or 90k health on the other hand, then you're a little bit more tanky. I would like to have like 100, 110, 120k health here, but I need some better pieces for that. So yeah, I miss vital bonds and I also miss high health rolls on the backpack. So that can definitely improve. I also have 25% AR damage though, without the survivalist, so that's quite high. But 5% is just from the generic mod, so you maybe don't have that much. And lastly, the 10% damage to armor. And that's the whole build. That's my assault rifle PvP build. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you like my content and want to support me, then just subscribe to the channel. And as always, see you in my next video. Bye!